Chairman Mendelson, do you stay with your statement that there is not a crime crisis in Washington, D.C.?
Absolutely, and as I said in my opening statement, it is concerning, and there are folks who believe that crime has gotten worse. But when you look statistically, 10 years ago, crime's down 45%. Year to year, crime is down 7%. Go back to the 1990s, 400 homicides.
Chairman Mendelson, this is 2023. We aren't back in the 1900s. This is 2023 in Washington, D.C., and there is a crime crisis in Washington.
Yeah, this isn't the 1900s, although I kind of wish it was, when only anti-woke people could vote. That specimen of stupidity was Marjorie Taylor Greene speaking to the chair of the City Council of D.C., Phil Mendelson, during a hearing on crime. And she was clearly asking him questions that she wasn't ready to hear the answer to, like asking Donald Trump what her ranking is. She's not ready to hear 5 coming from his mouth. And she's not ready to hear the realities on crime, to the point where she will not hear that he's talking about the 1990s, not the 1900s. And look, I'm not a whiz with numbers either, but I also know how to listen. Of course, that is not the point. The point is to attack because the wokes are doing crime. Okay, but what about rival MAGA Smurfette Lauren Boebert? How did she fare in this hearing about crime? Let's take a look.
Yes, Mr. Allen, did you or did you not decriminalize public urination in Washington, D.C.? Did you lead the charge to do so?
No, the revised criminal code left that as a criminal charge.
Did you lead the charge to decriminalize public urination in Washington, D.C.?
No, ma'am.
Did you ever vote in favor of decriminalizing public urination in Washington, D.C.?
The revised criminal code that was passed by the
council. Did you ever support?
Kept it as a criminal offense.
And you support this? Criminal?
I voted for it, yeah.
You voted to keep it as a criminal offense?
That's correct. The full council did.
We have records that show that you were in favor of removing that criminal offense and allowing public urination.
No,
Is that something that you intend to pursue in the future?
No. The legislation you're referring to that came from the Criminal Code Reform Commission changed public urination from a criminal to a civil offense. The council then changed that to maintain it as a criminal offense at the request of the mayor.
7 strikes and you're out? My God, is public defecation also still a crime in D.C.? Because someone needs to haul Lauren Boebert away after that mess. That is a long way to go to prove you're wrong. And also, who peed on Lauren's car? Or better yet, who hasn't peed on Lauren's car? Somehow, both of these ghouls are on the House Oversight and Accountability Committee, and somehow both can ask questions this stupid about crime and still never mention any need for gun control. As City Council member Allen kept reminding Representative Boebert, the new crime reform bill that was proposed in D.C. did not pass. The U.S. Senate, in a step many say was overreach, voted to block that crime reform bill that the City Council had approved. That block included 30 Democratic senators, sadly, and even sadder, President Joe Biden, who didn't veto the bill. In other words, he let the Republican bloc go through and therefore played into that right-wing narrative about crime being out of control when, let's go back to our boy Phil.
When you look statistically, 10 years ago, crime's down 45%. Year to year, crime is down 7%.
So in effect, Biden did exactly what Marjorie Greene and Lauren Boebert wanted. They should thank their president for not letting public urination to be decriminalized, even if it wasn't originally in the proposal at all. Now, let's point out the obvious hypocrisy that both Greene and Boebert feign concern about crime in D.C., as if 2 years ago a bunch of their friends didn't try and commit one of the greatest crimes in American history next to the thing that they don't believe in teaching in schools, which was breaking into the Capitol building to try and overturn an election and hang the vice president. In fact, Representative Jamie Raskin pointed out this very same hypocrisy.
The very same members who have come together today to denounce crime in Washington and the response of the D.C. government that they know very little about are astonishingly many of the same members who visited violent criminals in the D.C. jail and praised them as heroes and political prisoners as if they were Nelson Mandela or Alexei Navalny.
Great points, although I'm pretty sure Lauren Boebert thinks Alexei Navalny is a drag queen. And if they do find out that he's a Russian dissident, well, we all know whose side they're on. But it's true that they have no idea about the history of crime in a city that they just arrived in, and yet have no bones about questioning someone with actual knowledge, like the chair of the city council, when they have the same authority as someone who saw a meme that told them that unhoused violent people from the 1900s are coming to urinate on them. And Raskin's also right that Marjorie has been visiting the January 6 rioters in D.C. jails who are serving time for their crimes, but whose actions, of course, she doesn't consider crimes because everyone knows crimes aren't done by white middle-income boat dads that bought thousands of dollars in tactical gear after being radicalized on Facebook. It's done by poor people. But irony of all ironies, while Republicans do this song and dance about trying to get tough on crime, they're actually finally doing a bit of criminal justice reform themselves in order to help the January 6ers specifically. Now, doing a good thing for the wrong reasons is still doing a good thing, I guess. But how funny that now they're realizing what an effed up penal code we have in this country? Let's be honest about something, though. Both leading Republicans and Democrats suck on criminal justice reform. They know that things like giving defendants greater access to resources, or ending overly harsh punishments, or stopping aggressive police tactics keeps people safer and poses no threat to anyone to change. But they're too chicken shit to actually act on what the crime stats keep telling them, because so much crime is just imaginary, living in our heads rent-free, when the real problem is whether or not we can even make rent. Tucker Carlson audio reveals pathetic attempt to win back Trump. Watch that video from me next. And if you like me, listen to my podcast, The Bituation Room, and follow me on all the things at Franny Fio.